Welcome to a special episode of the On a Family Basis podcast. My name is Jake, and I'm here with my cousin Ben. Say hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Good job. That was a good job. So, as I did before with Dallas in the previous special episode, I just want to hear some stories from you, hear some memories. And the first one I asked Dallas as well is that what is one memory you have of playing baseball together growing up?
So there's, a ton, right? Because that was all we did. That was how we spent our summers.
Right.
Was if it wasn't outside playing baseball, it was inside playing video game baseball. Um, so yeah, dude, there's so many to choose from. But my favorite memory, um, you might have been there. I don't remember, but I know Dallas was. We were playing at Irwin Center. Yes, Irwin Center is the one by Dairy Queen, right? In Homeland.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think,
Okay. So we're
yeah,
playing it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's been a very long time since I've lived there.
yeah,
All right, we're
yeah.
playing at the Irwin Center. I'm in center field, Dallas is in left field, and there's a ball shot into the gap, right? And I'm running, and he's running for it. And without even saying anything, he just like slid on the ground, and I jumped over him and made the catch. Now,
Hmm.
I say that because in my head, it was the coolest thing ever. But if I was standing there watching it off to the side, I've been like, "What did I? What did I just watch?" It looked like these two kids just tackled into each other and happened to stumble upon the ball. But
Yeah.
dude, that was one of like the last times I truly remember just getting a group of people together and like, hey, let's just go play baseball. I mean, because eventually you just grow out of it, right? Like, yeah, everyone gets
Right.
busy and,
Yeah.
and you start
Yeah.
training, and then you're all over the place. But that was a lot of fun. We played a game at Dan's bachelor party before Dan's bachelor party,
Yeah.
where
Well, I definitely wasn't there.
you were not,
Huh.
and I don't even think Dallas was there either. But this was literally the last time I played like get the guys together, let's play some baseball. It was hot, dude. It was like 100 degrees. We were out in the sun all day, and then you know you do what you do at a bachelor party, and Dan did not make it very long because he was sunburnt and then dried out and then drunk in that order.
Man.
And so, it was a memorable night, and that's a whole other cavalcade of stories. But the last time I remember, like, not doing like a slow pitch league or whatever, the last time I
Right.
remember getting a bunch of guys together and playing baseball was Dan's bachelor party, and that was like six,
Hmm.
7 years ago now. So it's been a minute though, but
I take it personally that I was not there for any of those.
well, you might have been there at the Irwin
I,
Center, but that
but
was
I'm offended
who
that
knows.
this is not about me. Okay.
Well, I contend this, and this is a true story. Anyone I talk to about Isaac, because you and I played on one team together at Isaac.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
my last year there. That was the Rangers, right? I love the
Yeah.
Rangers. Anybody who's listened to this show before.
Oh gosh.
um,
Get off that.
so, but there was this play we were playing in the game. No, it was the first playoff game that year, right? Because the first playoff game we played at North, and then the second one we played at Welsh, and then
Yeah.
championship game was at Ormsby. Always
Yeah.
we're on
Yeah.
North, and somebody hits like a chopper. You were playing third. I was playing second. It's a slow roller up the line, and you just ran up barehanded it, flipped it over to first, got the guy out, and it was like the most professional looking 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old play
No.
that I'd ever seen. I was like, that was incredible. It was like
Didn't
that was like
happen.
a fun year though, dude. Our team was so good, but yeah, I tell
Well,
everyone best defensive
no.
play I've seen at Irvin's or at Isaac was
There's no way that happens because I'm too arrogant to not remember that.
That's a good point. But I'm telling you, it
Yeah.
did. It definitely did. It was nice. It was good.
I remember plays I made in practice that were cool. So maybe
But,
it's a little different.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
but that
but
was, dude. We had a lot of fun. And then I only had one Isaac experience with Dallas, and that was my team. The championship year that I won, we beat his team,
yeah.
and I guess he was a pitcher. This is what he tells me. I don't remember any of it because it was like 20 something years ago, probably 25 years ago at this point. But
Dallas told the story, but good.
oh, fantastic. Okay, well then I'll just listen to his recant. But I just remember he lost. He was like he says he was the pitcher at the end of the game or something. Spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
yeah.
And yeah, so but that was I don't remember any of that. I don't even remember that he was on the other team. I just remember like Mikey Ranella and Mark Ahern. That was it. And I was like, all right, well, that happened. I was like 6, probably still pooping in my pants. I had
Hope not.
problems. I had dietary problems.
I mean, that's kind of still a thing, but all right. So those are a couple memories, but I want to ask you. So, we talked about this before we started recording. Is that you were not always a Cubs fan, were you?
No, I wasn't.
So can you tell me one memory of switching over, becoming a Cubs fan? Because again, I don't think I've heard the story or this process. How did that happen? What's one memory
Yeah.
of that?
So my dad was a diehard White Sox fan.
Right.
Diehard White Sox fan. And he raised me to be a White Sox fan. And that's just one of those things like, your dad tells you we're Bulls fans, we're Bears fans, Blackhawks, and White Sox fans. And you don't get a choice in the matter. You start wearing black and white and then you wear black and
Right.
white forever. So by time I was 13 years old, I had started to go through like I was starting through puberty. My dad had just gotten sick, and there was a lot of like combativeness in my household.
Mm,
And I was like, I know how I'm going to stick it to him. I'm going to be a Cubs fan, and it was
mm.
just that simple. That year, it was 2002 is when I switched. No, 2003. So I was like
And
14.
that's when they made that run.
So I looked like a genius, right? I was like, this is the year I picked to be a Cubs fan. Everything's working out. They're having a great year. That staff was loaded. That lineup was loaded. And then Bartman happens, and then Alex Gonzalez, kicks the ball, doesn't get that routine double play to end that inning,
Yep.
and then that's just how it ended, right? And then that was my first introduction to being a Cubs fan was
Hmm.
absolute heartbreak. And
Yeah.
then thankfully I didn't have to live with it all that long, or 13 years, you know,
Yeah.
until good thing happened. But yeah, it was just because my dad was a White Sox fan and I started to butt heads with him and that I wanted to have my own independence from him and Dan. So
Mm.
I was like, well, I'm going to be a Cubs fan and that's it. Boom. That's how it happened.
So typical teenager rebellion was about a baseball team
Yeah. Most kids, they start getting piercings or getting tattoos and stuff.
at
I
13.
Dude, kids are wild, bro. Kids are
I
wild.
mean,
Piercings probably not, maybe not tattoos, but uh,
I've not seen Euphoria, but what I've heard is it's crazy.
that's
So
what I'm
kids are
saying. I
crazy.
haven't watched it either, but I guess
Yeah.
we're the two people on earth who haven't seen the show. But
I
yeah, dude,
don't. Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't keep up with high school nowadays. That's all I know. I could barely keep up with high school when I was in high school, let alone these kids would eat me
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah. True. But God, so that was as simple as that.
Yeah, no, that's really all it took. And then it didn't go over well in the house.
No
Um,
way.
yeah, I know, right? Hard to believe. And then so Dan, if he and I are arguing about something, he'll always throw in a little jab of like, yeah, or if we're talking about baseball or whatever. He's like, yeah, but you were always a White Sox fan growing up, or you weren't really a Cubs fan or whatever. He'll quick
Mm,
little quick little jab, and it's like I can't argue it. But in fairness, at this point, I'm 33, so 20 years as a Cubs fan versus 13 years as a White Sox fan, and
yeah.
most of that, I don't remember, would be I didn't have free will to pick whatever team I wanted to. So just saying, 20 years as a Cubs fan is a pretty good run so far.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 2 decades. Wow, that feels like forever. Um,
2003,
but
bro.
in those 20 years, what's one memory of the best Cubs game you've been to?
So I don't know if you'll remember this, but you're involved, so you should at least.
Ooh.
It'll be a good story. No, so I went to military school after my sophomore year of high school, and the very first baseball game I went to after I graduated was in 2006. you and I went to a Cubs and Dodgers game. It was just me and you, and we
Hmm.
hung out. We were up on the third base side, like kind of pushed back a little bit towards the concourse,
Okay.
like third base left field area, right? You know how
Yep.
there, and we just kind of go
Right.
back. Yeah, but it was just me and you, and we sat there and we got water bottles, like big. That was like the free giveaway was a big water bottle, which I still have. Uh, it's a box. It's a box called my Good Things box, right? I got
Hmm.
like handwritten letters from my dad still, a balloon that I got from graduation in military school, all these nice things. The water
Right.
bottle that you and I went to and got from the Cubs game is in that
Hmm.
box. So that was my favorite. I don't even know if the Cubs won. They probably were bad. They played the
Yeah.
Dodgers, and who knows,
Probably.
2006.
Yeah.
But that was probably my favorite game. Otherwise, the game we went to for your bachelor party was also a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Those are probably
Yeah.
my two favorite like Cubs specific baseball games that I've gone to.
Yeah. Again, I have no memory of that, but
That's it. My word
I
for
I'm not saying it's not true.
it.
That's all I'm saying. That's
Yeah, no,
good. So
it was a good time. It was bizarre though. It was absolutely like I don't even know. We had to have taken the train down there, right? We were 16, 15, and 16 by that point. 16, 17. So
no, yeah, 16, 17.
yeah, 16, 17. So I mean, we would have been old enough that we could have just taken the train downtown to go to a Cubs
Right.
game. So
Right.
yeah, but dude, it was a lot of fun. That was that, and then obviously your bachelor party was great. We got to take that tour, and then because they weren't even finished with the renovations at that point, right? Weren't they still?
I mean, no, no, they definitely weren't, and but it was still Wrigley, so it was still cool. But it
Oh yeah,
was
how long
just
ago was that now? You've been married how
that
long? Over a decade, right?
no, it's been 9, almost. It's gonna be 10 years in May.
Wow, jeez.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a wild couple years. We'll say that.
You don't say. Yeah.
Yeah. But you mentioned earlier about in 2016 something really good happened with the Cubs that won the World Series.
Yeah.
Now I won't ask you because I have it written down, but I won't ask you for one memory of the World Series year or of the actual winning, but what are a couple of memories you have of that season, or maybe the playoffs or the World Series, the Cubs winning in 2016? What's one or as many memories as you want about that year?
So I don't think I'm trying to remember. I was living in Normal at the time. I was living in the trap house with my friends, and we didn't have cable, so I wasn't watching any games really. And I worked at Jewel, and so I would listen uh, on my commutes. I would like walk to and from work sometimes, so I'd listen to the games on the radio. But I wasn't really as tapped in during the regular season as I probably should have been.
Mm,
They were great. Obviously, I knew that, and I knew they were having a great year because I'm still on the internet. There's still Twitter and everything you can check
right.
out. And I would get like the Bleacher Report updates and scores and all that. And I knew they were having a great year, and I knew Arrieta was pitching well, and then he had that second half. But
Yeah.
realistically, the first game that I think I remember sitting and watching, or that I can remember, my memory's not awesome, but Dallas and I drove by you down in Columbia.
Yep.
This is like right after you had just gotten sick
Yeah.
or just went home from being sick. And so
Yep.
we went there and then we watched, I think it was game one because Kluber was pitching for the Indians at the time, the Guardians now. But I
Yeah.
think he was their
Yep.
ace, so it had to have been him. But he was pitching and the Cubs lost game one. And it was just like a bummer. Because then at some point I looked around the front room and obviously you were asleep because you had been through a lot and probably a little tired. And
A
Dallas
little
was
bit.
asleep, and Rachel was asleep. And I'm just sitting there, and like me and your mom are looking at each other, and the Cubs are losing, and I'm like, well, this sounds about right. You know what I mean? Like everyone's just gonna pass out. This game stinks, whatever. And then fast forward to game seven, and this is I watched every pitch because it was on TV, and
Right.
on like basic whatever you could watch it. So we figured out we Jimmy rigged the TV that we can get a little picture, and then we watched it. My roommate Davis and I watched the game. Um, and I remember when Chapman gives up the bomb to uh,
Roger Davis.
Rajay Davis. I had a water bottle sitting in front of me, just reactionary, pure blind rage. I just smacked the water bottle across the room, and it hit up, and I was like, "This is not how this is going to go." You know what I mean? It was like of
Yeah.
all people, Rajay Davis, to hit this home run, and then obviously when the game ended and the Cubs had won, I had bought a custom Cubs jersey. Like the moment they won, I went on to Fanatics or whatever, the Cubs.com, MLB.com,
Yeah.
whatever it was. Made us custom Cubs jersey. I had like $300 in my bank account. That jersey cost like $250. I didn't care because I was so happy. I was
Mm.
just like, I'm doing this. So I buy the jersey, and then I remember calling Dan outside, and I cried because like my dad wasn't alive. That I couldn't be like, look, we finally did it. Like they did it in 2005. And
Yeah.
my dad had such a, he was like, this could have been you because 2003 Cubs look like they're going to do it. They
Yeah.
don't. And then 2 years later, the White Sox actually win the World Series. So I was like, well, I picked wrong, So then finally in 16, I had a reason to like we did it. I picked right. It ended up being the right
Yeah.
call. And obviously, so my dad's he was not alive anymore, so I couldn't talk to him, but I talked to Dan, and I just remember like crying and not really knowing what to say. And then I kind of just hung up with him, gathered myself, and then there was like all the bars in Uptown Normal were starting to spill out, and people were
Yeah.
celebrating and stuff. So I kind of just like floated in with the group. It was just hugging people and doing all this stuff. And then I called my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, and we went and we hung out, and I hung out with her, and she didn't know anything about baseball, and she did not care at all, but she was happy that I was happy, you know. And so it was just like a total perfect way to end that day. I don't remember going to sleep. I don't remember if I had work the next day. I don't remember any of that. I just remember celebrating it, seeing it, and like just being a part of it. You know what I mean? And just like
Yeah.
float. Like, I just can't imagine. Like I think Dallas was downtown, right? So that would have been
Yeah. He
even
he
crazy.
said he was at the field.
Yeah, like that's like so I experienced that, but on like the tiniest version possible in Bloomington or Normal, Illinois. Um, but it was still surreal. It was so much fun. It was just like you're just there existing, and it was so fun. But I didn't end up making it up for the parade either because I had work or something. But I would have loved to have gone.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Again, as I'm asking you about your memories, some just came to mind as you talked about the parade. Is that my wife and I have been together since 2010, so 12 years now, but married for a little under 10. But we said, I feel like it was during when we were still dating. We said, I don't know why this came up because the Cubs definitely weren't good. I said we said something like, if the Cubs ever did win, we'd want to be at the
Mhm.
at the parade, not the game, because that's not can't buy
Realistic.
those
Right.
tickets.
Yeah.
So we're like, we want to be at the parade, and then again that summer when I was in a coma and I had a brain injury and all that, came home and I was the watching of the game was me sitting in my chair watching and then going to bed pretty shortly after. And it was like, and then when the parade happened, we just watched the parade, and I was like, yeah, this is good enough.
Yeah, because I mean, at the same time, you're like, I could be on the moon and know that the Cubs won a World Series and still feel that internal joy.
Right,
You know what I mean? So
right.
you can watch the parade at there, and then and then that kind of just spirals. Like I don't like being in large crowds anymore. Like as I've gotten older, my anxiety towards that stuff's crazy. So I don't know how I would
Well,
have reacted or enjoyed
Well, the
that.
past 2 years have given you a good reason to not
That's a
be
good
in
point. Yeah,
crowds.
yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, but everyone's
Yeah,
been wearing a mask lately. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know. I don't
Bunch of weirdos.
know. Yeah, it's the last couple of years, especially as a Cubs fan, have been kind of different. But I won't even go there because seeing the changeover of World Series players that won the World Series leaving, grieving that, I won't even go there because that can be a whole nother.
Hendricks and Ross, I think, are the only two, right, that are left. And Ross, I guess, left.
Contreras.
Oh, Contreras,
Contreras.
you're
What
right.
he wasn't
Oh,
the.
Hayward too. What am I talking about? There's a bunch of guys.
Yeah, but I mean, anyway. So, but going into that, we'll save that for another like episode
Absolutely.
or something. But some that I did want to ask you is that when you do go, so have you gone to a lot of Cubs games in Wrigley?
Um, I've probably gone to 10 in my life. 10 games.
Yes.
The last
So,
one, my old boss at Jewel got married at Wrigley in center field, like in the
wow.
the center field box out there. So we went to the wedding, which was like in the middle of the inning, and then got to hang out and watch the game. They were playing like the Royals or something.
Mm,
Yeah, it was nice though. So that I did end up getting to go last year, and then I went the year before that as well. So I've been going more recently because they are expensive, and because my
yeah.
dad again was a White Sox fan, we never went to a lot of Cubs games as a kid.
Right. Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
But speaking of, we're talking about Wrigley, talking about winning the World Series and all that. But I want to ask you, what is your favorite part about game day, either at Wrigley or just in general at a professional baseball stadium? What's your favorite game day part?
It would have to be the energy. Like
Mm,
there's a palpable like it almost feels like a vibration in the air of just like excitement that you could just reach. Like
yeah,
the Cubs could be, you know, 62 and 100, and that crowd in that game is still going to be as excited if the Cubs were 162. You know what I mean? Like there's just like an energy. There's a party feel that you don't really get at other stadiums. You know, like
yeah,
the being in the bleachers of Wrigley Field is a different experience than being even behind third base, or like we were talking about the tickets that we had to the game we went to. It's just different. Being in the bleachers of Wrigley Field is like an
right.
experience. It's something you have to do. Um, so I would say the energy and just like the feeling that you get of being in the stadium is like it's like electricity for me. It just like jolts me up. I could be having the worst day, walk into a baseball field, see all the green out in front of you, and then just feel the energy of the people around you, and it's great. It's fantastic. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah. So what you were talking about, the word that I thought of, and tell me if this is right. It may not be. I may be well. Is that there's like an eager expectation in the air,
Yeah,
like a positive expectation of a good time.
absolutely. Yeah, because like I
Hmm,
said, the Cubs could be terrible, but that none of that matters except for that game as an isolated thing, right? So like
right.
we get 9 innings, we could be the best team in baseball today. That's all that matters. Just have to win each game as they come, right? So it's like we might have lost yesterday. We might be facing the murderers row Yankees coming up, but we got a chance today. And so if you can win
Yeah.
today, that's what. And there's like you said, like an optimism, an expectation of like we can do it. This could be, you know, baseball's
Could
beautiful.
be could be a good day. There aren't
It
some
could be a
some
good day.
years are less good days,
Yeah,
but there's an option. There it could be.
absolutely.
But I didn't ask this for Dallas and in his episode, but I do want to ask you this, and it's more of a challenge. is that I want to challenge you. I want you to say something that you like about Guaranteed Right Field.
Okay, it's cheap, and I mean that in the nicest.
Wow.
No, I mean
Wow.
like it's not. It's inexpensive.
Yeah.
I used to joke for a long time that you could buy one White Sox ticket and you get three free. Like they're just trying to get people into the stadium, um, or like the game. It was a messed up situation in real life. There was I don't remember the name of the gentleman, but there was like a police incident that happened in Baltimore, and because they were worried about rioting and stuff, they didn't allow any fans at the
Right.
stadium. So the White Sox and the Orioles played a game that was completely empty, and I was like, oh, the Sox should be used to this because they don't play in
Yeah.
front of people anyway. you know. But I mean, it's inexpensive, so you could go there, and they have better food, I think, than they do at Wrigley. And I'm a fat guy, so I'm allowed to say that. But they have churros as well. Wrigley doesn't have churros, and I
Yeah.
love churros. So I would say the inexpensiveness of the food and the tickets is a
Yeah.
plus, especially as as an adult as you get older. You know,
Right.
and I feel
Right.
like their stadium's more interactive for kids than Wrigley is. Like Wrigley has that thing outside now, but the White Sox
Right.
have had that whole left field contraption of like pitching speeds and batting cages and a little field and all that out there for a while. So I would say that. I would say inexpensiveness and more kid friendly than Wrigley.
Yeah. I asked Dallas, what is his favorite
Hmm.
stadium either he's been to or just in general, and what he talked about was, he referenced PNC Park in Pittsburgh, but then he also referenced Petco Park in San Diego. And the reason why he said it was because there was more stuff to do for kids and for families, and you know, clock in speeds and like I think in it was US Cellular for a long time. Now it's Guaranteed Right Field. I think they used to have like a dunk tank or like a shower or
They
something. Like,
definitely had a pool
yeah,
thing that would just drop water on you.
I mean, and for kids, I know that can be annoying, especially as a parent now. I'm like, I don't want my kids soaking wet, but it's yeah, there's a lot more stuff to do, and yeah, as you say, Wrigley has more stuff on the outside now, and
Mhm.
those don't even you don't have to buy a ticket to do that.
Right. Yeah.
So there is more kid friendly stuff, but it's not built into the park.
Yeah. It's also taken a really long time for them to do it. You know what I mean? Wrigley
Right.
Field's been around since who knows, for 100 years or whatever. Right? Didn't we just have our 100 years celebration not that long ago? So I mean,
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it's taken them this long. But I mean, in fairness, like, and here's another crazy thing: is St. Louis. I don't know if you've been to Cardinal Stadium lately. They have
I
a
went
really
to
nice
I went to
ballpark
the old
village.
one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they have this thing called Ballpark Village where they have like their team's Hall of Fame and a restaurant and a nice
Mm,
beer gallery and places that you can sit and all that, like right next to Bush. Uh, that's actually really nice, and I think that's where the Cubs are kind of taking their inspiration from. Is like, hey, we can build this whole thing around the stadium, but still make it part of the stadium. You know what I mean?
right, right.
Um, so that was a lot of fun. St. Louis. I've been to one game there, but
Yeah, again, I lived in Missouri for 7 years, and I'm not a huge fan of visiting St. Louis, like Bush Stadium or whatever they want to call it. That's fun. There's a couple other things to do in that city, but
you
I'm not shy.
overdo.
I'm not shy of saying I don't really of the two cities in Missouri, like big cities like KC and St. Louis. I potentially wanted to live in KC for a while.
Hmm.
So St. Louis, yeah, but again, different story for a different time. So we'll see. But yeah, so I think that's gonna just wrap it up because I just wanted to hear a couple stories from you about a Cubs fan playing baseball together growing up, And that's actually, as I said, it's going to wrap up this special episode of the On a Family Based podcast. And my name is Jake.
And I am Ben.
And we will be back whenever we have our regularly scheduled episode coming out. So you'll probably see this if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the video, but also follow us on social media. We're on, mainly we do stuff on Instagram. We're going to start doing some Instagram lives. We have posts and stories about not only what's the podcast doing, but what's going on in baseball. So check it out. Check out the Instagram, the Twitter, Facebook page, whatever. But if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the video down below. And if you're listening, subscribe to wherever you're listening to. That's not hard.
No, so just one extra button, just one click.
That's what Dell said. Just one click. Just do it. What's it gonna hurt?
It's not.
So we'll see you guys next time, and thank you for joining in. And again, as we said, subscribe. Do it.
Bye.